Welcome everyone to the 10th and final round of the F1 Total Esports division at the Riyadh Marina Circuit for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, the finale of Season 1. My name is xfelix1 and I am being joined by Jonathan. Hello.
Hello Felix, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Looking forward to the race. Hope you are as well.
I can
I'll just quickly
looking
drop
forward.
the link for the stream on the Discord. There we go. So, one more race to go in the Esports division. The final deciding race, the fight for the championship is already over, with CPI having decided it last week at Singapore. However, there are still plenty of other positions up for grabs. A fight for P2 still going on, mathematically at least. X could still be caught by both NLR and Relentless, with X on 205 points, NLR on 157, which is 48 points behind, and Relentless on 153, which is 52 points behind. So yeah, it's likely that X will have wrapped up P2 after qualifying. But then, of course, as you can already tell, NLR and Relentless are very close together in the fight for P3, with NLR on 157 and Relentless on 153, which is 4 points behind. And then also LRN, pretty close behind, only 34 points behind NLR. So, say NLR and Relentless have an off week, LRN could still sneak a third place here. They are on 123 points. And then at the bottom of the table, ORT, PFR, and TGF on 20 for ORT, 18 for PFR, and 12 points for TGF. So still a fight going on there as well. So yeah, mainly P3 and P6 still up for grabs, and a mathematical chance of a fight for P2 if X have a stinker. But other than that, of course, hopefully a good race in store for us today. Want to see some exciting race into end of the season. And what I'm reading in the driver chat is that there will be rain in the race. What? I mean, well, they're saying rain, but I don't see any rain now, so I assume they mean the race. Or it's coming in qualifying soon, but nobody is rushing out the pits. So I guess that means a wet race in Abu Dhabi. That is not something you see every day, but something I'm really looking forward to now. And because I'm confident no driver will be prepared for that in the slightest. So that's going to be really interesting to see how drivers adjust to something they very likely have never done before. A wet race around Abu Dhabi. That should be fun.
I'm looking forward
Unfortunately, only
to
a
racing
14-car grid for tonight's race as of now. Well, PFR haven't had any drivers join. Helvina did ask if he could join in qualifying, so maybe they will have at least one, maybe two if they can find another one in the next 15 minutes before qualifying ends. But yeah, as of now, only 7 teams competing in tonight's race. But still a very high quality of drivers in this lobby. That should deliver us a good fight. I'm guessing, I mean, the time trial world record around Abu Dhabi on PlayStation is a 121.002 from Thomas Ronha. Don't think it'll be quite in that level, but say like a 0.5, 0.6, 0.7. I could definitely see that. I think 0.7 would already be on the high end, seeing what sort of times we've been seeing so far this season. I could definitely see a 0.5 or even faster being set as the pole time for qualifying tonight. Well, tonight. I'm so used to saying tonight in commentary. It's been a full season of Esports Division. I still haven't gotten used to the 3 PM start time rather than the more usual evening start time. But yeah, of course, having to work around our usual leagues, the Division 1 in the evening. Of course, don't want to have a scheduled clash with that. The first driver on the lap here is the ORT driver Bulletproof, and my audio is very quiet. I'll just turn it up by probably one click. That should be enough, just so you can hear the engines at all. So we'll see what he's going to be capable of setting. We didn't see the sit-down time. He picks up a bit of slipstream from the Alfa Romeo there, but that probably cost him more time than it gained, moving across the track and then back to the racing line. Braking just before 100 meters for the chicane. Doesn't quite nail the apex, but now trying to get a good exit. Of course, all the way over the curb there. On the exit as well, just about staying inside the white lines. The perfect line through there. And now entering on the right hand side once again, braking just after the 50-meter mark for this long left-hander. One of the new corners in this track in general. This entire last sector has been reprofiled a few years ago to prevent dirty air from being as much of an issue. And it leads to this really nice flowing section, which is really nice to hot lap through. It's still terrible for racing, I have to say, but it's quite fun to drive now. And we'll see the first lap time bulletproof around the final corner. What is it gonna be? It is a 1:22.399. That's our first time set in the session. And immediately, slightly faster from 5 me now, about 4x, a 0.249. About 1.5 tenths, well, exactly 1.5 tenths faster than the LRT driver. Blackberry across the line puts in a 0.726, that's third place for now. And Speckler with a new fastest time, a 0.075, getting close to 21s now. But still not quite an inch of roan around the final corner. And he puts in a 23.165. That is not a great banker for him, he's gonna have to try and improve on his next run. Versify into third, a 0.382. We've got a Mercedes approaching the end lap, that is the relentless car of MTK. Let's see how far up to good he can go. It's a 22.258. Pretty close to fight me now about there. He goes into third place. And behind him is that a Williams of Finlay on an outlap. Behind that, Matthias for CPI on his first run. CPI so far this season have been a dominant team. As I said, already wrapped the championship title. And now just going on their victory tour here in Abu Dhabi. Let's see if they can bring home another pole position, as we have seen so often this season. Matthias around the final corner. How far up the grid can he go? That is a 1:22.264. That's P4 for now. Very close margins there between Flight Me Now Bot, MTK and Matthias. 249, 258, 264. 15 thousandths from second to fourth. Right now, I'm not sure. I think Finlay might be the only one on the lap now, as everybody else is either finished their first run or is sitting in the pit lane or on their outlap for the first run. What's going to be interesting to see is with the rain apparently coming in. I mean, I don't think many people will have a wet setup for Abu Dhabi on hand, but the ones that do, are they going to be using it? That could impact their qualifying performance, sacrifice some points in qualifying, sacrifice good position as well, of course. But then in the race, you might have a faster car. Well, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if no one on this entire grid even has an Abu Dhabi wet setup on hand. I don't have one, I have to admit. And yeah, you very rarely need one. But I guess this proves that you should always prefer 22.815 from Finlay, that's 8th place. Jan Neil for NLR, I believe, on a lap at the moment. He's very low in ES here. Oh no, he's backing off, so not a hard lap for him. CPI Danny about to start one. His teammate Matthias in 4th. Let's see if he can get into a similar position, or maybe even go a bit further up the grid. He's surely gonna be aiming to beat Spectralab's 22.0. CPI have been just the team to beat so far this season, and that will likely continue. So purple sector 1 is 17.2. Let's actually compare that. Let's see how factual that's. Oh yeah, it's actually purple, I think. 268 for Speclab, and it was a 224 for Danny. So he's about 40 thousandths faster in the first sector than Speclab. And if you can keep that momentum going through in 3, he should be on for a very good lap here. Maybe into the 121s. On what will be his first run in the session. A 52.604 on the middle sector, that's purple. We'll once again compare the sector times. It is a 35.380 for Danny and a 35.362 for Speclab. So Danny is slightly down in the middle sector on Speclab, but it's very close. So it all comes down to the final sector here, and what I saw from when I wasn't in the pole screen looked pretty good. And now around the final corner, how far up the grid can Danny go? Can he take pole position? Yes he can! The first 128, a 28.846. And that is a pretty good final sector there. He gained 2 tenths on Speclab in the final sector, which ends up being the difference. Danny on pole position now, but Speckler is getting ready to complete his second run here. Meanwhile, Bas for TGF coming out the final corner, completing his first lap and puts in a 23.420 P12 for the TGF era. Relentless Peace with a 17.2 in the first sector as well, so matching Danny and Speckler. Roger Bell has abandoned his lap. Speckler has started his as well now, so we'll see what he's going to be doing in the first sector here. The aileron driver currently in P2. 56 thousandths down in the first sector. That's not a great start to his lap, but certainly nothing lost yet. He can gain that time back in the middle and final sector. We definitely saw that in the final sector there is some time to be gained, considering that Danny gained 2 tenths on him through there. Oh, but Peace has disconnected in the middle of his qualifying lap. So that will be that lap down the drain. That's a lot of tires wasted. He's been teleported back in the pit lane. And hopefully he can get back in relatively quickly. And hopefully, I mean, he has 7, close to 8 minutes left. He should be able to put in one more lap. Spec lap, down by 87 thousandths in the middle sector. Find me now about in third on a lap as well. Now we'll see what he's going to be doing in the first sector. Up by 24 thousandths, so a slight improvement for Fight Me Now Bot, at the moment at least. Spec lap getting really close to those white lines. Very good line through the double left-hander there, under the hotel. And now over the line, it's a 122.182 for Spec Lab. Doesn't improve in the end, stays in second place with that. We'll go on board with Fight in third right now. Was slightly gained in the first, so we'll see what he's going to be doing in the middle. Let me quickly check something. Jonathan, are you still there? You've been very quiet.
Yeah, I am. Sorry.
Okay, Fight up by almost 2 tenths, so looking good on this lap so far. We've got MTK on the lap as well. In the middle sector, he is up by 2.5 tenths, so good improvements from both Fight and MTK. Matthias in the fifth on the lap as well. Wow, almost 2 tenths up in the first sector already. So we've got a good amount of improvements from that chasing pack. And over the line, a new fastest time, a 0.766 from Fight Me Now Bot. Peace is back in the lobby now with 6.5 minutes to go. He might still be able to complete 2 laps if he gets out of the pit lane fast enough. MTK over the line, a 22.047 third place for him. Matthias up by 3.5 tenths in the middle sector. A very solid lap from him so far. He just brings it over the line. Jan needed to jump into 6th place with a 22.164. And there comes Savina. So that is PFR now with 1 driver and a fighting chance of securing P6 in the championship standings. 21.818 for CPI Matthias. Beats his teammate Danny, but doesn't quite beat Fight. Who secures P1 for now at least, but still 5 minutes to go. 1 more lap at least for everyone. Finlay up by 2.5 tenths in the first sector. And I think with how close he is to his teammate, there might have been a bit of slipstream going on in the middle sector. Yes, 5 tenths up, that has to be slipstream. Massive time gain for Finlay. That would catapult him into the top 8 there. That 5/10th game will put him ahead of Blackberry right now. We'll see if he can find some more time in the final sector as well. Under the hotel. Back on the power, and now through the final 2 corners. Get the car rotate in. Back on the power. Halfway over the curb, and over the line is a 22.049. 7.5 tenths gain for Finlay. He jumps all the way to P6.
I'm really close to.
We've got Specklab as well in 7th, who is up by 68,000 in the first sector. Let's see what he's setting after the middle sector line. Believe he's the only car on track doing a hot lap right now. Up by close to 2 tenths. So Specklab on his way to a 21.8 potentially, so this might even be, if you can find a bit more time, a pole position worthy lap if you can beat Fight. The gap isn't massive. Oh, but a bit of a mistake there, a bit of understeer coming into the hotel section. And that could cost him, that could be the difference. Those tiny mistakes, you can see how close the gaps are here. And now around the final corner, bit of an all-steam moment as well. And the lap is ruined, he didn't even gain in the end. He was up by so much for the final sector. Yeah. Cost him dearly. And he stays at P7 with 22.075. Very unfortunate for him. Meanwhile, Bas has to start in the lap coming out of turn 1 there, and now going through the fast S section here. And in the first sector he is gaining by just over a tenth. But he locks up into the hairpin, and that would have cost him a good amount of time. I think he was halfway on the curb there on the entry, and that lifted the front right tire up into the air. Yeah, costing him any amount of grip he would have had. We'll see if he's still able to gain some time. His previous best a 23.420, which is quite some way away from the next car of the row at 22.770. So he's gonna have to try and find a lot of time here. Down by 22 thousandths in the middle sector. So yeah, all the time he gained in the first sector, lost with that one mistake he made. 3 minutes to go, so he can either go back to the pits and have one more go, or finish this lap and probably stay in P13. We'll see what he decides to do, if he thinks he can improve more, but... Oh, he didn't invalidate. I thought he would. He definitely went off the track there, but I guess the game deems it valid, so we'll go with it. And over the line it's a 23.129, does gain close to 3 tenths in the end. So I think that he definitely could have had a bit more time without those mistakes. And probably could have challenged for that, between Rogerwell and Jerome for P12 and 11 there. With mistakes, P13, that is his qualifying over. I don't think he'll have another lap in him. Simply not enough time left in the session. Avina, the only car, well, not the only car on track, but the first car on track for the final run now. Everyone else coming out the pits now, so Avina might have a bit of traffic coming up here. That could be quite costly. And he actually drives back to the pit lane. Interesting.
I didn't think they're back at it again.
He doesn't have all that much time. Yeah, 1 minute 52 now.
And a minute 20.
Getting held on the pits as well. I mean, Jerome driving out as well. No, both Jerome and Spectlab coming out very late. And I think that CPI Matthias coming out the pits as well now. So they're gonna be, 1:38. They're gonna have to hurry up a bit to get to the line. Especially with so many cars in front of them. There could be a bit of a, was it Monza 2019 situation? Wiener's left the session. Yeah, I think some people are gonna end up missing the line here with how many drivers are close together here.
I can't see it on the left because of the...
Yeah, the constant yellow flag sadly means we can't see the time, but I think I just saw it pop up for a moment. They're 109, 108, about 106. You can see it pop up every so often. Yeah, and Fight is jumping the queue. Fight is realized they're a bit low on time. But I think the cars in the front of the queue should be fine, but if you go towards, say, one of those Ferraris, like Rocheville could already be in danger, and the ones behind him even more so.
Yeah. Reservoir is been quick in the first sector.
Oh, Reservoir already on a lap. Sorry, completely missed that, so we'll focus on him. He's 4 for the moment. Havina's back in the lobby now. A 21.866. So he, if he gains exactly 1/10, he would be equal with Fight. And right now he is gaining 7 thousandths. A very small time game, but the margins are very small as well. So this could very well still be a lap that ends up being pole position. No traffic in the final sector, they're all... I think they've all made the line actually, just about. Yeah, a few seconds left and the Red Bull just went over the line, so they've all made it, barely. And Resify, where's he gonna go? Is he gonna be able to jump all the way into first place here? Over the line it's a 21.800 flat at second place. A very solid lap, but not quite enough for pole position. MTK up by 1.25 tenths in the middle sector. He's the closest to the line, so we'll stay with him for now. But the entire field currently doing that, so except Havina, Bass and Resify, those 3 are already done. And if MTK can bring this over the line, he could jump. He could jump both CPI drivers, he could jump Resify, might even jump Fight, depending on how fast this final sector was over the line. What's it gonna be? For the relentless driver. It is a 1:21.914. He stays in 5th. And a new fastest time from Fight, 21.663. But immediately beaten by Dunny, 648, 21.648 for the CPI driver. It's pole position for now, but still a few cars coming over the line there. A spin for, who was that? I think Specklab? No, it was Jerome. Matthias coming up the line here, currently in 4th. He's up by 20,000 in the middle sector. Let's see if he can gain in the final sector. Janil jumping into 3rd, Matthias jumping into 4th now. Specklab still going as well, and he jumps into 8th. And Jerome, we saw him spinning. It's over for him. That is qualifying done. And it's a 21.648 pole time for CPI Danny, followed by Fight Me Now Bot in 2nd for X. And yeah, I'm now gonna have to do the math for the championship. If you can read out the quality results once they're up on screen, please.
Yeah. So now, surprise really, CPI Danny is on pole for CPI by just 15,000 out of 5 in their bot for X. And then Laura Yang also just 500s behind him. CPI was highest in 4th, so the 2 CPI drivers right up the top, as well as the 2 NLR drivers reserved in P5. Then we've got MTK in P6, just ahead of Philly in P7. Then we've Specklab in P8, Oreo in P9, Blackberry in P10, ORT, Roger Well in it's
Alright, I believe X have secured P2 with that. But I guess we'll get back to that after the race start. It's a bit, yeah, I took too long there. I tried my best, but the driver's waiting up immediately, so I didn't really have enough time to get it all calculated out. But I'm pretty sure that X have just secured 2nd place in the standings with that result in qualifying. So now it's all about the fight for 3rd and 5th. Let me just double check. Yes, X have indeed secured P2. So I'll remove that from my notes. Make it easier to keep track of everything. So NLR finished 5th and 3rd. So that is 6 and 4 points. That is 10 points for NLR. Relentless finished 6th and 9th, so only 3 points for them. They are now 9 points behind NLR. LRN finished in 8th and 13th, so only 1 point. And that means they are now very far behind with 43 points to NLR, so they need a 1-2 and NLR needs to DNF for them to win the, or not win, get 3rd place. ORT didn't score, PFR didn't score, and TGF didn't score, so the fight for P6 stays simple. So yeah, update now, NLR on 167 points, Relentless on 156, 9 points behind, LRN on 124, 43 points behind. ORT stay on 20, PFR stay on 18, and TGF stay on 12. X have secured P2, CPI have secured P1. But here we go, the 5 headlights for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. It's driver now, but rain forecast later on. And Danny on pole position gets away really well, defending from Fighting now, but who actually has to cover off the outside line against Janil, who's boxed in behind him now. Matthias, of course, trying to have a go at Janil as well for that 3rd place position. But for now, Danny running away at the front. But Fight following closely in the slipstream.
at the back.
Fight having a look up the inside, they're sending it on the brakes into the hairpin and taking the lead of the race, but he is on the inside line. Danny still alongside, Danny back ahead actually slightly. Janil trying to get involved, they're 3 wide down towards the chicanes. And Janil does take P1 for now, but they are side by side still all the way into the corner. Who's gonna come on in front? Fight on the inside is probably the biggest chance. Contact made between all 3 of them, but they're all still going. Janil on the soft compound there making full advantage of those tires. And I think he has now fully cleared both of them, but Fight is probably going to come back at him here. On the inside line, into the long left-hander. Does he get back? And I think he does have a chance here on the inside. Even though Janil doesn't have tire advantage, he can't go all the way around the outside of the Williams. And now Resify seeing his chance as well there against Danny, but can he go around the outside into the final sector? No, he cannot. And I think for now the order is settled as we go into the final sector. No overtake opportunities here. Fight in the lead, followed by Janil, Danny, Resify, Matthias, Finn, MTK, Peace, Roosevelt, and Bulletproof. What a start that was. Complete chaos. And I have to say, it's looking a lot lighter than usually, like a lot more sunny skies than I would expected. It looks almost daytime, which is unusual for the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix. Oh, and Janil with a bit of a mistake there, and that does allow Danny to move back past him into the S section. Peace is around, and Hervina had an instant as well. He's still behind Peace, so must have at some point had something we missed. And now Fight pulling away slightly in the front, 5/10 gap between him and Danny, so starting off well.
It's raining. It's raining.
Rain already coming down? Yes, I can see it on the chassis when I go on board. That is quite interesting, so that does explain why so many went for the soft compound tire.
It's a question why people went on the mediums then.
Yeah, they're gonna have a massive advantage now. The softs are gonna have a lot fewer issues with temperature, while they're still in on a dry track, but on a slightly damp track, of course. Of course, the question is how long this rain is gonna stay. Are we gonna be seeing pit stops onto intermediate tires? And when are we gonna see those? Bulletproof has left the session, so disconnect. Danny having a little look up the inside of Fight Me Now, but it's not a really an all-take opportunity, as Fight has a massive slide there as well. So you can see the rain really starting to pick up, I think, but I don't think it's quite time for Inters. Probably one more lap on the dry tires. We'll see if anyone goes for the gamble. Of course, double stacks will be a massive issue here as well with... Oh! And Danny's got to the back of the... Janil's got to the back of Danny. Danny's round. Janil's into the wall with wing damage. And half the field pitting, half the field staying out, it seems. So, still in strategies for most teams, but Janil and Danny have just, well, been massively compromised in their fight for the race win. And a lot of drivers into the pits here, of course, all onto intermediate tires. It's a double stack for X Esports. With Finn coming out ahead of Fight, actually. How has that happened then?
He's spun on the way in.
Oh! So all three leaders with an incident. Fight with a spin on the pit entry. I completely missed that because I was focusing on Janil and Danny. Janil re-ending the McLaren. I guess Janil got caught out by people pitting and yeah, couldn't react in time. But the track does look pretty wet now. You can see Janil really sliding around.
Squirreling around the track.
Yeah, look at the gap between Finlay and Hervina. And I think Finlay might end up in the race lead here. Matthias and Mezzo 5 behind him, fighting for second place. Well, 11th right now, but it will turn to second place, I'm pretty confident. The air should be deactivated soon because the track does look very wet. But the fight between Matthias and Finlay here is definitely worth watching. The DRS is still open. Matthias could have a go at P10 here, which will likely turn to P1. Unless MTK is pulling off something magical there in the current lead of the race. Yellow flags for Bas, who's had a spin. Probably caused by running dry tires on a wet track. It's crazy how quickly the rain picked up. Like 1 lap ago I said it's not dry, it's not wet enough, you should stay out for another lap. And shows what I know, because it is absolutely pissing it down. This is very much a reminder of the Zandvoort race in real life this year, where the rain came so quickly, and the track conditions changed so quickly as well. And now, of course, everyone coming into the pits, but they're all gonna drop so far behind. Finn already almost caught them when they get into the pit lane. So that will be Finlay taking the lead of the race here for X Esports. And following him will be CPI Matthias, then Anla Resify, Blackberry Hall for TGF with a very good race so far as well, up into 4th place. Although no, MTK came out in 2nd place, what?
Second, what?
I completely counted him out. I did not think he would be anywhere near these guys. He must have had an amazing in-lap. Being on the dry tires on the wet track, but still coming out in 2nd place. Really impressive stuff from MTK. And, well, now he's in the fight for the podium, for the race win over here. We've got a bit of a train from P1 to P8. Well, no DRS, of course, so not really much of a train, but you know what I mean. They're all somewhat close together, and then the first big gap is between Fight Me Now Bot and Peace. MTK is burning with Ortic here, trying to get a run at Finlay. Finlay's tires probably already up to temperature, while MTK still has to warm up coming out the pits. The tires will be slightly cold, but it's not as bad on the wet compound tires as it is on the dries. The dries take a lot longer to warm up. Beautiful helicopter shot here, seeing the chase of the entire pack following Finlay around here. It's MTK, Matthias and Resify close behind. Danny going for the move on Janil in the final sector. Janil, I think, still has the wing damage. I think Janil didn't change his wing. At least I think I saw his end plate missing. And you can tell he's very much compromised with the turn-in. And now he's pitting. So I guess he forgot to set it to change wing, yes. And on automatic the game doesn't like to change your wing. Finn from the lead of the race on lap 5 already with a track limit penalty. And that is going to really hurt his chances of securing his race win. He would now have to drive out a 3-second gap, and he does not look like to have the... does not look like he has the pace to do so. MTK is following him so closely. And I think if DRS was deactivated, this will already be over. And it might now be over anyway. MTK pulling out the slipstream. And so the inside line of chicane, he is ahead of Finlay and takes the lead of the race. Of course, Finlay might try and find a way back at him. Down towards the...
underfield car by the looks of things. So he's going to need a safety car.
You're really, really laggy. I can't really understand what you're saying. I hope it's better for the stream, but yeah, for me, yeah, you keep like cutting out. I don't know if it's your internet, my internet. Hopefully, it fixes itself at some point. Recify and Matthias going side by side into the final sector there, but in the end, Recify has to back out. Oh, Matthias with a massive slide there. He has to catch, yeah, correct the slide. And once again, he's sliding a lot. Matthias being really aggressive with the power, it seems. Oversteering out of every corner. And it definitely shows, I think, the drivers are not prepared for this in the slightest. I don't think anyone will have much experience running in the wet at Abu Dhabi. MTK, though, is doing a really good job. Already an 8-10th gap to Finlay, who himself is 1 second to Matthias. So the front two seem to have blistering pace at the moment. Especially MTK. With how closely Recify is following Matthias, you would think that maybe he can have a go at the those guys ahead if he simply finds a way past that McLaren is sitting ahead of him. Of course, in the rain it's a lot more difficult to overtake. You don't have the effect of DRS helping you. And now Recify closing in on the back of that McLaren to the outside line at the chicane. Can he outbrake him? He can't. I think he's gonna have to back out. He's not really far enough alongside to justify staying inside, but now trying to switch back, but gets a bit of a slide. In the background, Fight and Blackberry fighting. Fight going off. And Blackberry comes up behind. And in the meantime, Recify has now slipstreamed past Matthias. Matthias running out of ERS in defender position, and Recify finally cleared the McLaren and now can start chasing after Finlay. But Recify very low in ERS, so trying to get past Finlay will be a struggle, which is great news for MTK, who makes a bit of a mistake there in the final sector. Runs deep over the curb, and Finlay closes up by a full second once again. So Recify is going to have to try and get past Finlay as soon as possible to start chasing after MTK, which will be crucial as well for the fight with, for P3. NLR and Relentless, of course, fighting over that position in the standings. Their teammates Janil in 14th and Peace in 8th. Well, Peace scoring a few points at least, but Janil, with the wing damage from the 2 pit stops, has left his teammate Recify all on his own there in P3. So those points will be really important for NLR. And they could probably use a safety car to bring Anil back into the race. But of course in the rain, heightened chance of a safety car, you would say. Only 7 laps in, so still a long way to go.
Speaking of safety cars, I do Finlay need one to finish this race. If you look at his fuel, it's yellow.
True, he is on yellow fuel. I guess he underfueled the car knowing there would be rain coming and thinking in the rain you need less fuel, which is true. How much is he actually underfueled by? It's difficult to read on the Williams dashboard. I think that says 0 point something. So he hasn't underfueled by that much, and he definitely gained fuel back in the rain. So I think he might end up being fine. 0.5? Wait, wheel is blocking it. Yeah, I can see that being a 5. Yeah. It's way too small. I can't read that. Peace moving past Blackberry for 7th. That is another 2 points for our Redness. And I think as of now they would be in 3rd place. If my the math that I'm doing in my head is correct. Later on in the race, when it's a bit more quiet, I'll start doing like actual updates from standings and check who's going to take which position. Recify now really cleared Matthias, doesn't seem to be able to pull away, doesn't quite seem to have the same pace anymore. Finlay is opening up that gap. So Recify, while following Matthias, seemed really strong, but now he's gotten to clean air. That pace is no longer quite the same. Finlay, in the meantime, seems to be picking up the pace a bit. He's staying with MTK once again after being dropped off DRS fairly quickly. Well, not DRS slipstream, I guess, in these conditions. I have to say, this looks so wrong. Like, seeing rain in Abu Dhabi, it's not something you're used to at all. It's such a weird thing to see on your screen.
It's not really a racetrack suitable for wet driving either. It's barely able to overtake in this line. The DRS straights. So you really need a good switching.
Yeah, the overtake on the track is helped a lot by the 2 DRS straights, and of course in the rain, no DRS making it so much difficult to make any overtakes happen. You don't really have, don't really have many long braking zones where you would normally then make the overtakes without DRS. You just fly past in the straight normally. And staying alongside each other for long periods of time is quite difficult. Blackberry there with a 3-second time penalty while battling Speclab, it seems. And Speclab trying to move around the outside through the final sector. Exactly the part I was going to say, you can't really move battle step aside through there. But Speclab and Blackberry proving us wrong. And Speclab taking P8 away from the TGF driver. To CPI drivers there in a bit of an inter-team battle. Danny moving really close to the back of his teammate. And it might be time for a bit of a switch here. And I think, yeah, there we go. Matthias goes off the throttle, lets his teammate pass, so he can start chasing after Reservoir for the podium. And it's Danny up in the 4th, Matthias down the 5th. We've also got Peace on the back of Fight here. Could be seeing a move shortly. Peace burning a bit of overtake. Closing in on the X-Car to the inside line. Can he outbrake him into the chicanes? This is one of the very few long braking zones that we have. Side by side. And Peace does pull ahead on the inside line. Fight might try a switchback. He's setting himself up for it. But a bit of oversteer, and I think that's killed his exit. And there we go. That is Peace up into 6th place and secured the position. Fight is too far back. Try and fight back. I have to say, this name, Fight, I'm sorry, it pisses me off. Trying to commentate on a fight with a driver named Fight is just... it's too much for my brain. We've got Danny closing in on Reservoir pretty quickly. Well, he was 3 tenths away. At the moment I go on board with him, he drops to 7 tenths once again, makes another mistake, and now even further back. So, talk about a commentator's curse, I guess. Reservoir once again opening up that gap just a bit. Lap 10 of the Grand Prix. The rain does seem to be picking up more and more. Yellow flags for Fight! With a spin in the final corner, he's gonna drop down to P9 here, maybe even P10 as Watchable is coming around the final corner as well here. That is Fight into P10. Making a mistake. I guess he would have spun around in turn 15, then spun all the way into turn 16. Or he spun around in the braking. Either way, result is the same. He's dropped down quite a few places. Just about still inside the points paying positions with that 10th position. We'll switch back to the camera of Danny here, who's the closest to any other car. He's gaining quite a bit of time on Reservoir in the straights here, so I would say that Danny is probably running lower wings. Because I didn't see him burning overtake, and he wasn't that close to have a massive slipstream effect, if any.
That could be why Reservoir gained some like this.
I think the slipstream effect helped Reservoir when he was behind Danny. I could see, Reservoir is one of the few drivers in this grid who isn't using line. Most drivers are using line, so I think that could be a big factor. If you haven't practiced the track, which I'm fairly certain that he will not have practiced Abu Dhabi in the wet, following someone around is easier than driving on your own. And that could be why his pace seems to have dropped off a bit. I mean, he isn't like slow right now, but he was so close behind the CPI guys before he passed them, and I thought he might be able to chase out of Finlay and MTK, which has not happened in the slightest. We've got Montreal closing in on Blackberry for P8 here. Blackberry simply, he was past Respect Club a few laps ago, he's already quite far back, and Fight now into the pit lane. And picks up a penalty in the process, so he probably got the pit entry glitch there with the warnings that can likely be removed. Buzz with a penalty as well, also pitting. Are we going to be seeing full wets? No, that's fresh inters. Fresh inters for fight. I thought it might be too early for full wets, but I mean, a bit early for Pitsum as well. Full wets for Bus.
Bus is going for the full wets.
I mean, okay, now that I go on board with Yanil, I think he makes a massive mistake as well. The moment I go on board, the track does look really wet.
It's a risk, but he doesn't have much to lose in 14th.
Oh, a massive slide then the pit entry and a pit exit as well, and not a great place to have a slide. The walls are very close, unlike the rest of the circuit. Alright, so keep an eye out on the gap between Bass and Fight, both on fresh tires. Bass on the wets, Fight on the inters. So if Bass starts gaining time, which he right now is not, that is the indication that it's ready for full wet tires. But yeah, you can tell that the drivers are really struggling, they're sliding a lot. Traction is very limited on the intermediates.
The anti-cases. He stays out.
Yeah, I don't think it's quite time for full wets yet because Bass is struggling a lot as well, he's not gaining time.
Danny fits.
Yeah, but we are a million miles away from it, this could be interesting. Depends of course on how long this full wet conditions stay, if they stay until the end of the race. That's Danny and Speckler in, Blackberry in. So a few more making the switch onto full wets. I mean, Fight, I'm not sure why he pitted if he was... I can only guess that Fight meant to pit to full wets and messed it up. Forgot to change tires. Jerome coming in as well. So both LRN drivers swapping for the full wets. Neil is in. Fight is staying out on the inters, so either he is now committing to the mistake or it wasn't a mistake in the first place. Speckler is going to come out in P9 now. Danny the furthest up on those full wets. 5.7 to Rogerville, and he is gaining. He is gaining. Keep an eye on the gap between the other wets to inter comparisons as well. Speckler up to Fight, Speckler up to Bulletproof. Yeah, I think it might be time for full wets. Most of them are gaining compared to the guys around them. But it is still somewhat of a transitional period. So if the rain will decrease in a bit again, which it might, we might be ending up back on the intermediates soon. It's still a long way to go in this race. You don't want to have to pit twice. And it does seem like that because these guys are not pitting. Although now Vesify is in, I think. Oh no, it's Savina's AI, not Vesify. Bass gets a 5-second penalty for corner cutting. How do you get an instant 5-second penalty? He must have completely ignored some corner.
Well, if Arena's AI is pitting, that means the game's telling everyone else to do this time.
Yeah, true. So the game thinks it's time for full wets, but a few guys still agree. Yeah, Neil actually pitted for fresh inters, I see. And looking at the fact that he is, well, still in 14th, he's slightly gaining on Bass, but Bass seems to be really struggling. He's not gaining on the cars ahead of him at all. Speckler just passed Bulletproof, and I think that is the clear-cut indication. And Danny is caught up to Rogerville. Yeah, it's definitely full wet conditions. There is no question about it. The only question is Rogerville gets absolutely left for dead by Danny. The only question is if this rain will stay like that. Look at the skies as well. Like there is not a single bit of light coming through. It's just clouds. Yellow flags in the middle, first sector for Janil, but he's gotten going again, so he must have had some kind of moment going through the flat out, well, not flat out in these conditions, but normally flat out left-right of turn 2 and 3. MTK now with a 3-second time penalty, and he seems to be really struggling because Finlay has really brought the gap back down here. So we'll see, are they now finally gonna pit, or they're gonna stick to their guns? They're gonna stay out on the inters.
That's definitely just so if they pit now, they'll lose it by a good way.
Once again, yellow flags, and it's a fight this time. We'll spun around as well on the intermediates. Out of turn 9, so yeah, the inter runners making quite a few mistakes.
I think the guy in front of us trying to stick there, hope it gets lighter soon.
Yeah, I can only guess the weather report is saying it will get lighter again. and because Danny is gaining quickly, that gap is coming down like it's nothing. 7.0, 6.9, 6.8 in a bit. Yeah, they were 6.8, 0.7. It's going down so quickly. Like he's gaining half a second a corner. It feels like. Yellow flags now for Finlay, who is in the grass at the chicane here, and it's gonna drop behind Reservoir. Yeah, we are fully in wet conditions now. You should not be running intermediates, and I think the gamble of staying out has backfired massively. We'll stay on board with
half a grid on inches.
yeah, and I think they've all messed up because you can clearly see that it's time for the full wets. But I guess Blackbrain now the 10-second penalty. Matthias has crashed. Matthias has crashed in the full course safety car, and that has completely changed the situation of this race. By crashing, Matthias has really
his own teammate.
Yeah, he's really screwed over Danny there. NTK, Specify, Finlay, Peace, Rogerville, Bulletproof and Fight are gonna be thanking him for that one. They can now pit onto full wets. I mean, Danny might... I think Danny will still be in the lead actually, but he will have slightly older tires. Yeah, Danny's coming back in. So Danny going for the fresh tires, picking up a 3-second time penalty in the pit entry. So that's gonna be a bit of a mess getting all those penalties removed that people got in the pit entry. Actually, fresh inters for most of them. Danny on the wets, Spec Lab staying out, but coming to almost a full stop here on the main straight, so he must have been really, really low on Delta.
In the top 4 all on new intakes.
Yeah, that is interesting. So the rain surely must be only here for a short while and going away soon. Otherwise, I cannot explain why they wouldn't go for full wets, because it was so clear, so clearly time for full wets, that it isn't even like a question as to what you should do. Yeah, Fight on the fresh inters, Bulletproof fresh inters, Rogerwell fresh inters. For Buzz it's fresh wets, but the grid doesn't seem to have an agreement on what is the correct tire to choose right now, despite the fact that the wet was clearly faster.
And it makes it more interesting for us.
That could be a bit chaotic on the restart. The intermediate runners getting overtaken left, right, and center by the guys in the wets. But then I'm guessing the plan is that the rain stops or gets less intense soon, and then the intermediates come onto their own, and the red runners will have to make another pit stop. And then it's gonna be a tough ask to try and make that time back up. Although fresh tires, or fresh tires, in wet conditions, it's a massive advantage. Like if you say you pit lap 20, and the inters are 5 laps old, that could honestly be like a difference of, well, I mean, I was gonna say like 5/10 to second lap, but that's 9 laps, and that's not gonna be enough time. So yeah, if this works for the intermediate runners, it's gonna really work. They're gonna need to, or the wet runners are gonna need to gain a lot of time before it's time for inters, for this to work. So yeah, if the rain is gonna get less intense anytime soon, I think the correct choice was to pit for inters. Because you simply can't gain back a full pit stop in the amount of time you have left in this race.
Yale has been a 5-stopper.
I guess the hope for the wet runners is that they can gain that pit stop back, or at least gain most of it back before the rain gets less intense to the point that it's time for intermediates. Matthias now left the session after his DNF. Thankfully for him, it is pretty much a nothing race of CPI. They are only competing for fun, for glory. They've already wrapped a title last week. Same goes for X, they've wrapped up P2, currently running in 3rd and 11th. In terms of P3, as of now, Relentless is scoring 25 and 12 points, so they would be scoring 37 and NLR scoring 18. And with Relentless only being 9 behind, that would mean Relentless are gonna be taking P3 as of now. In terms of fight for P6, ORT on 20 points, PFR on 18 and TGF on 12. ORT are scoring 3 points, TGF are scoring 6 points for Blackberry. That means as of now it'll be ORT on 23, then PFR and TGF tied on 18, but TGF I believe would be losing to PFR on countback. I think Havina got a P5 in Monza or P4. So that would mean, in the case of a points tie, advantage PFR over TGF. Safety car probably staying out for one more lap, which is great news if you're running intermediates. And I think the cause of that might be the fact that Daniel is going to take a long time to catch back up here and not to the field.
I'm gonna have to restart my update, so I might need a VM guys outside the glitch, so bear with me.
3-second time penalty for Blackberry as he comes into the pit lane. And Blackberry will front wing change and the pit stop onto the intermediates. So Blackberry switching onto a different strategy. Deciding that the pit stop on the green flags, it is too much of a time loss. And Blackberry coming out in P13. It's worth mentioning the AI of Havina is right in the middle of the field here. I think it's ahead of... Yeah, it's splitting the two ORT guys. Rogerville in 8th. Ahead of it, Bulletproof in 9th behind the AI, which is a bit annoying. But yeah, they'll have to deal with that. There's nothing we can do about it, unfortunately. Yeah, Neil has now caught a safety car. That took him a long time. He was really struggling on those intermediates. Blackberry thankfully did not take quite as long. So we'll be back on the way end of this lap. Probably. Oh, and the AI of Havina is just passing Rogerville. What just happened there? There we go. Safety car in this lap. It is MTK who's now in control of the restart here. With Resify right behind him. But keep an eye out on the drivers in the wet compound. Speclap, Danny, Jerome, Buzz, and Havina. Well, Havina's on lap, but Buzz, Jerome, Danny, and Speclap. Those guys are gonna be trying to make up positions while the track is still wet. But then if we move over back into intermediate conditions, the advantage will go away from them. But for how long do they hold that advantage? How big of an advantage will they have? MTK crawling across this final sector. Doesn't want to go too early. Because he knows those guys in the wets are gonna be a lot faster for now, so the less racing he actually has to do, the better. But he goes quite early, actually. Before the second to last corner, and he has caught Resify off guard pretty well. So that is MTK for now at least secured in P1. But now we immediately switch back to the guys in the wets. Speclap and Danny chasing after Peace. Jerome following closely as well, but Danny all over Speclap there. Buzz already making up places past a few cars down to turn 1, up into 9th. Danny practically pushing Speclap through the S section. 5-second penalty for Bulletproof, ignoring yellow flags. Danny now following really close with Speclap and sending in under brakes. Getting alongside on the inside, and I think he's got Speclap cleared here. Indeed does. Danny up at the 5th. And now he's going to start trying to make a... Oh my god, I can see nothing. They are appearing out of the fog here. Completely blind. And Danny is going to try and... coming as he comes out that fog, send it on the brakes on Relentless Peace, gets the space given, is alongside on the outside now, but now he gets squeezed off, aggressive from both drivers, and in the end, Peace does come out ahead of the CPI driver. Meanwhile, a big fight going on here, Blackberry and Bulletproof making contact multiple times in the fight for P10 it was, but they've both been overtaken by Yanil. clearly just losing too much time. That is Janil securing one crucial point for now, at least for NLR, in the fight against Relentless for third. Janil now being forced off the track a bit there by Bulletproof, I think, as we see them coming out the corner. Bit of contact made. Bulletproof with a massive slide, and with another massive slide, and he puts Blackberry into the wall! And that's probably not a safety car, yes! And Bulletproof gets a 5-second penalty from the game. And it lasts about,
really
well, not even one lap. And it does seem like everyone is going to be staying out. No pit stops. At least from the top 9. Janil staying out. Bas is staying out. Bulletproof is staying out. And so is Savina's AI. Oh, Bas is coming in actually. That is, well, bad news for the wet runners. Less time for them to make up places. And Bas has switched back onto intermediates now. Blackberry hauls out the race. Terrible news for TGF in the fight over 6th, 7th, or 8th. They are down to one car. So Bas is gonna have to score at least 6 points. No, at least, yeah, he's gonna need to finish at least 6th to score enough points to beat PFR to 7th. So TGF in a pretty dire situation now. They are very likely to finish last, and I think the rain has lightened a bit. It doesn't seem nearly as intense as it was earlier.
Okay.
And Neil and Bulletproof swapping places, or seemingly some disagreement over who was in front as the safety car came out. I'd be interested to know what these guys are going to be doing, Danny, Specklab and Jerome. Because I am confident that this will not be full wet conditions by the time we restart the race. So do they bite the bullet and drop to last place in the pit stop, or do they stick out in the wets and, I don't know, pray that they can defend those positions? Yeah, the situation is reversed now. The wet runners are now the ones who are going to be chased on the restart. Because this rain is definitely cleared up quite a bit now. The track does look still, there's still quite a few puddles. I think we might still be in a transitional period, but of course we have probably one more lap of safety car running here. And by the time the safety car comes in, the intermediate will be faster, if it isn't already. So I think we're about to see these guys pit. Specklab is in, Danny's staying out, and Jerome is staying out. Only Specklab is going to be switching onto the intermediate tire. And that will mean that he's going to be dropping to last place in this race, well, 12th place in this race. You can also have a quick look at the penalties. 3 seconds for Bas, 10 for Bulletproof, 6 for Janil, 8 for Fight, and then 3 for Danny, Finlay, and MTK. But with how many penalties we saw for people entering the pit lane, I think a few of those might end up being removed. Could go to Stewart's office. Can also have a look at the number of pit stops. We've got Janil with 5 pit stops in this race, running in 9th. Bas has 4 pit stops. Danny has 3 in P5, but yeah, quite a few. Nobody has less than 2 pit stops so far, which is just a bit crazy. So yeah, anywhere between 2 and 5 pit stops in 19 laps of this Grand Prix. And hopefully the final safety car of the race. We want to see green flag running to the end.
You can still see the massive gloom on the straight when in the aerial cam.
Everyone has caught back up to the field. Specklab coming out in P12, of course, and yeah. Havina is ahead of Bas and Specklab. So only those two, the rest of the field are in front of him. Safety car has been called in. Once again, MTK is resetting the pace. Last time he went really early, just before turn, the second class corner, turn 15. Let's see if he tries the same again, or if he tries something different. Let's see if Resify can have a better restart this time, attack the Mercedes car, maybe into turn 1, or into the chicanes separating those two long straights maybe. Quite a few overtake opportunities on this track. There happen as well before the 2 long straights. The long left-hander after the 2 long straights. Those are your main 3 overtaking opportunities. Is Reservoir gonna end up taking any of them? MTK still slowing the field down. But once again, he's gone just before the second to last corner, same as last time, and once again Reservoir has been caught out completely. 6.5 tenths a gap as we enter the final corner, and MTK goes over the line, still in the lead of the race and well ahead of Reservoir. A great restart for MTK both times. Yellow flags in the back on the Spec Lab has retired with a crash between him and Bass. No safety car this time around though, it seems. And now fighting Rogerville in the wall coming out of turn 1. Absolute chaos going on. But we're still under green flag conditions. As Finlay's putting pressure on Reservoir for P2 in this race. Janil moving past Jerome. Janil with a great restart up into P6 already. He was starting in 9th. You still see the fog on the back straight. Fight now into the wall, coming out the hairpin. That's another safety car. Once again, a safety car is Fight. How does he end up all the way over there?
Looks a bit deliberate.
I'm not going to say it was deliberate, but that would definitely look like a weird spot to crash all the way over there. In that, like, how do you even get in that position? Bas got a drive-through penalty now for speeding under safety car. The chaos does not stop here. But, yeah, I can barely give the chaos justice. Just simply too many safety cars. That's the 3rd safety car within half lap. Bas now with another drive-through penalty. What is he doing? That's 2 drive-through penalties within like 10 seconds. Danny is spun in the safety car. What is going on in this Grand Prix? Danny dropping down to 9th place there. No, those go back up to P8. Rogerville and Ravina have to give back the place.
Sure, same place for images. And Jerome.
Yeah, surely Jerome, Danny have to pit for Inters now.
At worst, be 8th and 9th, with Bas having a drive-through, and obviously Herdina.
Indeed, Jerome is in, Danny is in, and Bulletproof in as well for fresh Inters.
They have fresh into this one.
Rogerville coming in also. And Bas with those 2 drive-through penalties also into the pit lane. He can't serve him under safety car, he has to wait until the safety car comes in. And indeed intermediates for all of these guys as we thought. Finlay, MTK with the spin!
MTK.
From the lead of the race! And he drops down to 4th place. How are so many people spinning under safety car? Bas is on what?
Haven't?
Why is Bas on mediums? What is he doing?
Um,
There were cars on full wets like 10 seconds ago, for heaven's sake.
it's still pouring it down. Does he know something we don't?
I mean, either this rain is about to stop or he thinks he's being funny. But this is definitely not a dry track by any means, so I don't see him catching up to the safety car anytime soon. He can't even go full throttle. Well, now he can finally, but it took him a long time. So Reservoir is now taking the lead after MTK spin. We are down to only 10 runners, 11 if you count Havina's AI. As Peace lets MTK back past. NLR are now scoring 25 and 10, so 35. The fastest lap point currently... where is it? MTK, so that's 1 more point for Relentless, who are scoring 15 and 12, so 27 right now. 28 with the fastest lap. So right now Relentless are outscoring CPI... not CPI. NLR are outscoring Relentless. So that means they will be securing P2. P3, what am I saying? I've been completely... yeah, my brain has been shut off by all the chaos in this Grand Prix. I simply cannot keep up. But yeah, right now NLR scoring 35 points and Relentless scoring 28. It's a 7-point advantage in favor of NLR, so they are now 16 ahead of Relentless. LRN staying in 5th. ORT is staying in 6th, I believe. And then PFR staying in 7th as well, with TGF only scoring the 1 point as Bass with a bit of a drift into turn 1, but he unfortunately couldn't keep it going. Who would have thought running slick tires on a wet track is not the play? And he's not going to be catching the safety car anytime soon. I think we're in for a long safety car period as Jerome and Danny are swapping places.
I get a bit impatient behind Fabina's.
Yeah, I think Jerome is trying to get past the Farina, but it's not it's not possible. You can't do without getting a penalty. It's pretty annoying, but not much we can do about it. Yeah, I guess we can hope that Havina's AI pits for Inters to get out of the train.
6 minutes
hopefully, Bass with another spin.
Okay.
So I think we do have one more lap of safety car running here. As Bass is still not able to keep the car pointing in the right direction. Running with slick tires on the wet track. I think he's gonna probably come back into pits this lap because this is clearly not gonna work. Safety car in this lap. It has been called in, despite the fact that Bass has caught up somewhat, okay. But yeah, we are racing once again. Very late call for a safety car, so Resify doesn't have all that much time to get his tires ready, and the same goes for the rest of the grid.
So we have 6 laps. Yeah.
So yeah, he's gonna have to go quite late. Keep an eye on the ones in fresh inters, Jerome, Danny, Bulletproof, and Rogerville. Those guys might fly through the field here. But Resify in the lead.
He's gone.
And he has not caught Finlay off guard in the slightest. Finlay is right behind him. Although Resify with a good action out the final corner can definitely secure his position for now. But I'm sure Finlay is going to try and get past him as soon as possible. As Bulletproof is being passed, or getting past Danny there. Danny dropping behind both ORT drivers into turn 1. Although he does fight back against 1 and against 2. Great action by Danny and does go right back on P7. Jerome fires a penalty for ignoring yellow flags. Resify still in the lead of this race.
Oh,
a bit of a slide. I mean, it's worth mentioning that Finlay does have a 3-second time penalty. Same goes for MTK. So Peace is the first one who actually keep the position in the results if he were to pass Resify on track. There's only 3 cars in this race without penalties. Resify, Peace, and Rogerville. So everyone really struggling in the track limits in these unfamiliar conditions. It's a really interesting race to see. To see these drivers in conditions that they simply are not used to. A wet Yas Marino circuit, but at the same time, I would say that the racing hasn't been great. There's simply not many overtaking opportunities. It's very difficult to follow, and I probably would have preferred a dry race in all honesty. But still, it's a nice novelty to see a wet race in Abu Dhabi. Can't say I've ever seen it before, so now I can say I've commentated a wet race around the Yas Marino circuit in the desert. Yes, Resify still doing well there to keep Finlay just outside of reach, but Finlay not doing a solid job. Of course, Finlay, if you were to get Resify in between him and MTK, that would mean that he is safe in the fight for that second place. So that could be, that'd be crucial for him. But I doubt that he's going to be able to get past Resify and start building that gap that he needs. 3 seconds he would need to gain on Resify. He's burning quite a bit of overtakes, trying to make a move happen. He's burned a bit more than Resify. Resify on 60, Finlay on 56. And once again burning down the back straight here towards the chicanes. Can Finlay have a go at Resify? He is pretty close behind. Can he outbrake the NLR driver? To the inside line he goes. And he's going to try and send it, and I think he's got him as well. Resify might try and switch back onto the second DRS straight. Although no, he's not close enough. Jerome and Janil fighting for 6th. Jerome the fresh inters, of course, with a massive group advantage. But Janil still has track position. Jerome burning some overtake and now getting alongside on the inside line, turn 9. And I think Jerome is going to get the NLR driver here. And Danny following through as well, they're 3 wide. And Janil has to give the position. Danny and Jerome both moving past him. The tire advantage simply too big for Janil to have a much of a chance in defending. And Danny trying to make a move on Jerome into the 3rd sector here. Very unconventional spot for an overtake, and it obviously does not work. Jerome doing a solid job defending without causing any sort of contact with Danny's aggressive move. But they do lose some time by doing that to these top four. You would think they would work together to try and chase after them, bring home a podium for their teams, but right now they seem to be more focused on battling each other for 5th here. So yeah, we're gonna keep an eye on this battle. Danny does seem to have the pace over Drone. But yeah, as I said, it is so difficult to all take on this track in the wet.
Finn's already nearly a second in front.
Oh, Finn passed... Yeah, okay, yeah, of course, Finn passed Verify. I didn't even miss it, I saw it. I just forgot. Yeah, I told you, my brain is scrambled. So yeah, Finn doing a really good job, and if he does get that 6-second gap, he would still win this race. That would be a very, very impressive drive from the ex-driver. And it's now CPI Danny closing in on Jerome. Still not quite able to get close enough here. Maybe with the good exit off the chicane and then down towards turn 9. You can have a go at the Alaron driver for that 5th position. Yellow flags for Bass, who still is running on the mediums. He still seems to think he's being funny. Danny now on the inside line, finally alongside Jerome. And I think he's got him here, as he does have the superior line, superior grip it seems as well. And he goes right past the Alaron driver and up into 5th. And now he's gonna start chasing after the top 3. Bass is now finally in the pit lane, he's seen sense. Although, as I say that, I don't see any rain. Do you?
No, it looks like it stopped.
I think it will stop raining, so that's gonna be a massive shake-up in this race.
I'd say Bass pitted first.
Oh, yeah, Bass have to drive through. He didn't even change the tires. Okay, I see. So Bass wasn't even trying to be funny, he was genuinely making a strategic decision, it just hasn't worked out at all. Simply tried to gamble too early.
Ooh, yeah, a bit long.
I mean, we don't have that many laps. I think it's too late to pit for dry tires. I think you would simply lose too much time to pit stop. You can't gain back a full pit stop in 2 laps.
One thing someone like us could do though is pit for fastest.
That is very much true. The fastest lap right now I think would have been set on lap 2 probably, at 27.7, when it was just starting to rain. And now that it's finally ending, as Peace goes for the move on his teammate MTK for 3rd.
They're fighting each other.
They are really fighting each other, yeah, they are not holding back at all. Peace does come on ahead, but they have lost time to Danny there.
They're running back from there.
Yeah, Danny and Jerome have used this opportunity to close in. And all 4 of them are pretty low on ERS here, so it's gonna be a pure slipstream battle on the final 2 laps, I think. Meanwhile, Finlay, 1.4 seconds a gap between him and Resify. He needs to gain almost 2 seconds in those last 2 laps. I think that is too much of an ask for Finlay. That is simply... Oh, there's a car off in the final sector.
Bass.
Oh, that's Bass. I see yellow flags in the final sector. I thought, well, who's dropping down? But nobody was. Well, Bass on the dry compound tires. So yeah, still a wet track, and I think that seals the fate. No more pit stops in this race. Surely no one is in the pit on the on lap 28. You can't even get fastest lap that late, so
Yeah, that's dead as well.
I think Bulletproof is in actually. From P9, he doesn't drop any places, so I guess he's gonna try and get fastest lap. Makes sense.
Decent to lose.
Yeah, he has P9 secured anyway, and I think he's too far back from Yanil to have a go at P8.
So
Finlay now, I mean, 1.9. Rentless still scoring 15 and 12, but Danny is all over MTK here, and that could lose Relentless some crucial points in the fight for P3. And Danny gets both of them, I think, in one go. Danny up into 3rd place. Although, oh, MTK sends it back in there, squeezes Danny off the track. And that is Jerome slipping through, and Jerome up into 3rd place now. And Danny is certainly not going to be happy about that, and I think we're about to see a bit of a revenge move here. There we go. Into turn 9, Danny back on the inside line of MTK. And this time MTK has no chance. That is Relentless down to 5th and 6th. And Rochevelle going past Peace as well. And I think that is confirmation. Dia enabled now on the final lap of the race. Confirmation of NLR's 3rd place in the standings. I'm pretty confident. Of course, still 1 lap to go. Anything could happen. But with Relentless down to 5th and 8th, as Yanil gets past Peace now, who is actually disconnected, same as Bulletproof.
First lap Bulletproof then.
Yeah, both bulletproof and piece connecting. And now we just have a fight for the win between Razify and Razify and Finlay. 2.1 seconds. Keep an eye on that gap. There is still very much a chance for Finn to win this race. I did not expect that at all. Yellow flags for MTK, who's crashed out on the last possible lap. Danny slips past Ron. I think he was gone deep. And Danny up to third. I think Danny has DRS as well. Yeah, but Jerome will have the DRS on the second straight. He might still have a chance to get back at the McLaren up ahead. Both very low on ERS. 2.6 seconds separating Razify and Finlay. 2.7. Can Finlay pull this off on the last possible lap? Jerome with a terrible exit. He's not gonna get Danny like this. We're now gonna open the penalty graphic. And we're gonna keep an eye on Finlay. Oh wait, Jerome didn't get Danny. Okay, into the final sector. No more overtaking opportunities. Finlay, can he build this gap to Razify? Can he pull this off?
4 tenths leads.
Through the final sector. This is where you gain most in the lap time though. I mean, although Razify is now starting to gain back ever so slightly. 2.6. Who's gonna come out in front here as we go into the final corner? Danny now picking up another penalty, which will cost him third place. But over the line, it is Finlay. 2.8 to Razify. Who's gonna come out in front? It is Razify, just about. I think by a tenth it was in the end. Razify, yes, 1.5 tenths. Razify winning the final race of Season 1 in the Esports division. Finlay in second, Rogerwell in third, with all the time penalties. Ron in fourth, Danny in fifth, Yanil in sixth, Peace coming home in seventh, and then Bulletproof, who is back in the lobby actually, so he might have a chance at this fast lap. Oh no, he's running on AI. And Buzz still coming home in 10th, scoring 1 point. MTK in 9th for the DNF, still getting home those 2 points for Relentless. And, well, that was a rather exciting end to the race. I didn't expect it to get this exciting once again, after what had been a pretty uneventful race most in the proceeding, but still, very much an interesting race to see different strategies develop, see drivers negotiate a wet track. And a fitting end, I would say, to the Esports division in F1 Total. I thoroughly enjoyed the race. Not the most exciting one, but interesting in a different way, I would say. And yeah, congratulations to Razify on a great race win. Finlay on second place as well, made it, yeah, really close. Rogerwell driver of the day for his podium place after what had been a, I don't know where he started, but I think it was outside the top 10. So yeah, a great comeback drive from him in this race. And now we have him, your race winner, NLR Razify. And securing third place for NLR in the standings in the process. Standings, CPI winning the championship, X in second, NLR in third, fourth place going with Relentless, LRN in fifth, ORT in sixth, PFR in seventh, and TGF in 8th place. Yeah, that has been Season 1 of the F1 Total Esports division. As for Season 2, there is nothing planned. At least for the foreseeable future, there will not be a Season 2. I won't rule it out ever, but yeah. Here we have your full race results. We already went through them, so I'm not going to bore you with that again. But yeah, we'll go through the DNFs as well. Havina in 11th, then Fight Me Now, Speclab, Blackberry, and Matthias having DNF from the race. And yeah, any final words to say, Jonathan?
Yeah, it's been good to see. I'm happy to have helped you out with it over the course of it, and I hope there's more to come. But as you were saying, it just wasn't the best race, but it definitely lined up to win. And a bit of chaos even. So yeah, good race, good championship, and thank you for having me.
Alright, and with that, I will end the stream. I hope you enjoyed today's race. And, well, it's been about 2 hours until the start of Division 1, so I'll have to get ready for that. See you. Well, I'll be back next Wednesday for the Division 2 stream. And, of course, racing in Division 1 in 2 hours. So, yeah, have a nice evening and a nice weekend. And, maybe at some point there will be a Season 2. But anyway, goodbye for now.